Welcome back to our late IHP show, number 2, for my lovely IHP collective that tuned in to number 1. As we were saying at the end, learning that it is bullshit to be all proper and so let me explain, okay? Number 1, a 5D collective person likes to have that integration of the brain, and so self-awareness, accountability, and regulation skills. That's why we do spiritual self-help, but secular for those of you who don't believe in the woo-woo stuff. And that's where humble and empowered people don't take offense. The flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable brain is an integrated brain. It's a functional adult. I learned all these terms as I got attachment trauma informed, and it's really nice to know how to be you and to own your mind and body your entire life. So that's because of true love. I love myself first, which is why I don't need a twin flame to remember who I really am, but also because I'm a 5D mystic divine feminine. So I didn't have a breakage from that, which is faith, Holy Spirit, God, love, all that we get taught. At least I did in catechism. Otherwise I would not have gotten my confirmation, which is my first light body activation. And that's why I recognize the second. And really, it's not an activation. I said yes to the Holy Spirit. I said yes to what is unconditional love. I said yes to what is I can be and live with integrity and do those basic 10 commandments. Everything else was not taught to me as part of the God that I know of. So again, I remember us knowing that it's not a vengeful, angry, spiteful God that we have. So the people who are of true spirituality, at the very least of Christianity and of mysticism, we don't actively use name calling like those who call New Age people Luciferian, or those who actively in the mystic community say that crystals and Reiki masters are bad psychology. I mean, really, those are words that are fascinating to say the least, because there are bad psychologists, and the good psychologists and good therapists are trying to make people aware of them. Like I'm trying to make people aware of all of it, including the bad spiritual people, which really they're spiritual bypassers. But it's not that. See, with spirituality, it's a very different equation. So divine feminine, let's return home to that for a minute. As this rabbi introduced what feminine and masculines are, there's only one feminine that nurtures, and then the masculine, which can be expressed in 39 different ways. This Kabbalah story he was telling and trying to educate, trying very hard to disengage from gender stereotypes. Not successful, but it's okay. I'm not one of those women who's like, oh, how dare you? I actively know of neuroscientists, for example, explain the differences between the physiological man brain and woman brain. And I actively am aware of, yes, my woman brain does not know spaces. I do want the man who knows spaces and numbers, because I actively don't understand. Also, I'd love to have somebody who can help me embody that knowledge, because I do love learning. I'm curious like that. See, that's what a whole 3-year-old heart is, and that's what a divine feminine is. We don't compete. In fact, we don't need to nurture competition at all. We actively know when it comes to bonding what we want from our connections. I want to be Maria. That's it. You don't correct my words. You don't correct my feelings. You don't correct what I want to do as my lifestyle. You don't correct anything. The only thing you want to address actively is you do not break the laws, because you're going to end up in jail. Also, why would you do that? You know, like we have conversations of important things. Okay, you don't do the drugs. That's bad for you. And if you're going to be with anyone, you really want to make sure STDs and, you know, so I'm just saying healthy individuals get taught information. So I went to good schools. I have a child-centric environment. My mother raised me consistently. As for fathers, they were in a different spectrum, but I have a twin. So when you learn about attachment trauma, you know you have alloparenting figures. So my twin is one of them. And therefore, I already had 2 consistent figures that were consistently in my life. And that's where with my twin, I got to repair ruptures. So I got to basically have fights and know that I will be still in a herd. And I actively got disowned. So I got to learn at my age of 8 that my thoughts and emotions are not irrefutable facts. And there are people out there who still don't know this, and they're grown human beings. So, with that being said, some of us also, we love to love so much so that we become polyamory. Let's see, I have twin flames, not twin flames. So, that's why I'm not special, but then again, I love my oversoul. So, long story short, those of us who are of the oneness, and without rupture, the minute I got clairs, I knew what one big ball of energy meant, which is why anytime I have met someone who says I'm anointed, we're special, we feel more, I'm like, yeah, should I tell them? No, because this is not my role. As a divine feminine, I'm not here to capture you because your mind is yours, not mine. And your left mode spoke to me what you consciously think, and your right mode is nowhere to be found. In fact, you're not an actual divine feminine. You're not even necessarily a feminine in the book of a feminine, because you just spoke words that are very ill-placed and that are very egoic, and that I can tell the minute that they come out of your mouth, and you didn't notice it. You're actively looking at me with those little eyes. Please tell me that I'm special because I have clairs, which makes me now know that you're a non-differentiated self who wants a pat on the back because you don't feel special as you. So being ordinary is not a good gift. And you want to tell me you're anointed. Well, again, not my role. I'm not God at all. I can play with Cuscos and Sids and Manny's and Diegos and have a good time. There's your inner child adult. So functional adults, we choose very wisely what we are going to do when it comes to our relationships. And there's no battles. Unfortunately, there are people with a borderline personality lens that actively battle their own partners. So partners aren't partnerships, they're battlefields. So they actively look to get into fights when there's calm. They actively will trust a person who's kind less. And that is very upsetting because the people who don't go to good therapy, well, I wonder, because in their brain they actively they make us out to be evil. The minute that you do something different than what they thought you should do, could do, whatever it is that they planned out without telling you, by the way. So the entirety of what they've done is in here, and they haven't involved you once in open communication. Yeah. So humble. Humble means that I know how to be empowered. And healthy self-worth means that I know that if a man fucks me, feels contempt and disgust towards me and then shame, they need a good therapist, not some dude on a screen with a nice suit with the title, Why Men Won't Text Me Back. Or lovely Venus, the goddess of May, with her beautiful princess dress, informing, I tell my ladies, you need to have a man be needed because, I know you learned how to do it by yourself. I don't feel that way. I'm actively a happy camper because most of those men that I've seen, if they support any of those stereotypes, I actively need to look away. Oh, I'm lucky. I pick my herd. So I say, hey, look, you know what? I don't believe in those gender stereotypes things, and I appreciate that you share with me subjective opinion. I really don't want to use any other words. I truly do love you. Can we change the topic, please? Now, that's only with some. Others, I get the honor, and that's because, luckily for me, there are empowered men out there who don't buy into the bullshit of gender stereotypes, and that's where you're going to find, ladies, true love, and gents, and theys. So, when you find humble, empowered people, it's because, one, twin flame or not, you will remember who you really are by going home to your first year of life, your second and third. You reclaim all your child parts, go through therapy, come back around when you're ready to do mindfulness and mindsight and mindset. And that's emotionally and mentally mature people who know how to have open communication. So you don't bullshit in your head with inner critic, outer critic, and then do the shame cycle bit and the blame and the fault and the revenge and get on screen and start, So that's why the fake divine feminines, quote unquote, I say fake because, again, a divine feminine nurtures. The capturing is only done by those who want to keep you captured. You see what I'm saying? God gave us free will for a choice, for a reason. And that which comes up, first of all, is your first years of life, which are all implicit memory, the first 3. And it's at the 7-month gestation that you can begin accumulating those 7 months. That 7 months, the implicit memory, found out this bit of data points. So I confuse every now and then data points, but you can ask me questions. Dr. Daniel Siegel is instructing me today. And then 01 is attached panicky through to 7 shame submissive, freeze of all ages, flight 11, 12, and fight 14, 15, 16. So first you claim all of your child parts, get out of being an adaptive child or maladaptive child pattern behavior, and then you're going to know how to be a functional adult, and maybe you will know love because your oxytocin gene hormone is on. So you love yourself first, you know who you really are, use your human name, and then you say, hey, you're the one, and you don't go and make promises and change your mind and stuff like that, but you're also not rigid and uncomfortably, like that you can't talk to and stuff like that. So we'll be back with more funny stories, divine feminine here, closing out. I have my own divine masculine, then I have divine masculines out there. So have a wonderful evening. Thank you for stopping by. Enjoy.